Good morrow, my lovely little ghosts, and welcome to the Dark Orchard. I'm Laura, and today I'm talking about a concert. As I said in my intro, today I'm talking about a concert. Today I'm talking about a concert, but not just any concert. I'm going to be talking about the Ice Nine Kills concert that was held in Greensboro. Not only did I go to the concert, I also had Ice Nine Kills VIP. Before I get started, let me clarify, Ice Nine Kills was not the headliner, Atreyu was the headliner, and before them, Memphis Mayfire. So it was the opening band Sleep Signals, then Ice Nine Kills, then Memphis Mayfire, and then Atreyu. However, in this video, I'm going to be focusing mostly on the Ice Nine Kills VIP and only touching on the other band's performances. So I guess the way I'll go about this is to go play by play from the time I arrived until the end of it all. So when I first arrived, I parked 2 blocks away from the venue. Then I walked the 2 blocks up to the venue. The venue was actually really neat looking, and it was right across the street from a historical landmark. It was actually really nice. I'd never been there before, but I'd been by it a few times when it used to be a different club. So when we got there, it was just one solid line. As soon as I arrived, there was a guy there handing out the first round of Memphis Mayfire VIP passes. I think it was about a 45-minute wait once I arrived, and by then the line had gone all the way down the end of the block. And then one by one they came and got the different VIPs, starting with Memphis Mayfire, then Ice Nine Kills, then Atreyu. So the way that we got checked into our VIP was that we went by a lady and told her our name, and then she checked it off on the list and we went in. The line was a little backed up, so by the time she got through all of the VIP people, we still hadn't got all into the venue. So she slid in beside of me and she was like, "I'm just gonna walk in with you." And I laughed and kind of smiled and said okay, and she was just so super friendly. I found out later that her name was Dawn, and Dawn is going to play a part in the rest of this story. So Dawn was a very beautiful blue-haired woman who was the one that checked us in, and then once we were inside, she told us to just kind of mingle in the bar area, and inside of the bar area it was really cool. We walked by the merch booth and then went into the bar. And inside of the bar area was the branded wall backdrop thing, and it was really cool. It had I'll show a picture. So we weren't waiting very long, but when we got there, we kind of formed a line that went in sort of a horseshoe shape. There weren't that many of us either. So when the band arrived, they all lined up along the branded wall. Dawn explained that she would be taking the pictures, and she explained that she would take our cameras or our phones and take the picture. So then we started going through the line. I noticed right away that the band was being very personal with each person that came through. They were extremely friendly and nice. The one thing that impressed me so much was when Dawn was taking the pictures, she didn't just take one and done. She took multiple pictures to make sure that when we walked away from this experience, we actually had a good picture. Mine, however, looks like it was taken in the 80s, and I look dead. But that's my own fault. For some reason, I can just never take a good picture with a band. Ever take a good picture with a band. It's a curse. And this time I used my own phone, and my phone is just a cheap little Samsung, so it's really grainy. It's better than some. I admit, it is better than some I've had done. But it's not the best. It looks like an awkward goth family reunion, like the pale goth girl and all of her cousins. But again, that's not at all Dawn's fault. She was doing an amazing job. Amazing job. And she made sure that everyone had good pictures. There was even one girl whose pictures were not turning out right at all. They were constantly blurry no matter how many she took. And of course, Dawn was frustrated with that. She wanted her to have a good picture. She wanted it to look right. So she kind of turns around, and as she's turning around, someone waiting to get their picture made actually says, "You can use my phone," and I'll text it to her. So Of course, that warmed all of our hearts, and the girl got her picture. I can't think of a single VIP I've been to yet that would have taken that much time and care into each individual picture, and it was just really, really a wonderful experience. So once the pictures were done, we were told to gather in a semicircle and we would start the Q&A. We all stepped really far back, like the band was on one side of the room and we were all the way on the other side of the room. This is usually because bands want their space, and, you know, we get yelled at if we get too close to them at some places with some bands. But this time, Dawn was like, you can get closer. So we all move a little closer and a little closer, and then finally we're like within 3 feet of the band. And they get their little microphones out. They actually have cordless microphone projector thingies. They weren't like really microphones, but they were like megaphones. They were little megaphones. So the band gets 2 little megaphones out and they start talking into them. If I had a single complaint about the entire night, anything throughout the whole night, it would be that during the pictures/meet and greet, the lights were really dim. Like there were no bright lights. And I don't think that the band knew to bring in any, or that they would even have any to bring in. You know, I think it was more of a venue issue than a band issue, so I'm not holding that against them. But it was extremely dark, and that's why my phone decided, oh, I need to use flash. And it's also why my footage of the Q&A is really distorted, because we had no light. All we had was absolute darkness. Not absolute, but like there was a few blue lights behind us and like very dim lights all around, but it was just really hard to see in the bar area. So I did take some footage of the Q&A and I'll pop in a little bit of that.
Good, thank you.
Wow. Thank you guys for coming to the VIP Q&A, and I'm going to turn off Ricky's echo right now. If you guys have any questions, just raise your hand. I'll try to answer them.
Can we get one of those?
No.
Are you ever going to do a spring song?
Perhaps.
What was your favorite music video to film so far off the album?
Ooh, that's tough. Stabbing in the Dark, because I get to play Michael Myers. And I like Michael Myers.
Deck out his Friday because it was a Girl Scout camp. It was like really pretty creepy to be at.
There's tons of Girl Scouts around. Because of the Girl Scouts. They're all dead.
They're all good.
Dead Girl Scouts.
If you had to survive through a horror movie, what film would you pick?
Survive?
Yeah.
Cabin Fever.
It's filmed here.
I'd say it had to be like a zombie movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like zombie movies. Okay, we'll do it together.
Is there a particular thing?
The original Dawn of the Dead at the mall.
The one in the mall.
Yeah.
I would also like to survive Dawn of the Dead so I can keep all the shit and nobody else can have it.
What movie do you want to see?
Are we potentially going to see an album about horror video games in the future?
I don't think so.
I keep telling all the audiences that ask that I'm going to show him The Last of Us and he's going to really like it.
I'm not a big video game guy. I like the Friday the 13th one, but I'm really never going to write something that I'm not passionate about, and if I were to do that, it would be forced, so I wouldn't want to do that to you guys.
What kind of makeup do you use for your face?
I use the lightest shade of Fenty foundation you can find. Kat Von D setting powder. I use a lot of Makeup Forever and stuff. I just got the Kat Von D fetish palette that I really like. And I use some Bed 9 like black paint too a little bit to just get a little more depth. And then when I black out my neck and stuff, that's just black acrylic paint.
Now we're all bored to death.
Y'all write about movies like after fiction and stuff, and like, I mean, some horror films are after real stories, but have y'all ever had like a real, like, paranormal experience or something scary happen?
I've heard some stories from close people. My friend's father was up on a ladder in their grandmother's house, and he fell backwards off the ladder, like off, and he was put back on the ladder.
That's crazy.
So he was literally like lifted and put back on the
Yeah.
ladder. They see like little kids in the window and stuff.
All kinds of crazy
Yeah.
shit happening at that house.
I could write a book. I've had so much shit happen.
I had a house in college, and two different people that stayed there who had no consultation with one another said something to me. They were like, I swear to God, last night I was smoking a cigarette out there and I saw a little kid on the garage. Like there was like a separate building where there was a garage. So I always thought it was a visual trick with like a tree or something like that, but that always really creeped me out a lot.
My grandfather is a ghost. General, behind the guy with the beard.
Yeah.
Grandpa.
I watched it in the same house JD's talking about. I watched a door close on its own and then reopen. And I once slept at Spencer's old house, and I was sleeping on a couch, and I swear to God, the whole thing started violently shaking. I was wide awake. I don't know what.
That was my grandpa.
He had a very gentle touch.
I suffer with sleep paralysis a lot of the time. You know, like once a month I get that case of it and see some really weird,
I
scary
have
shit.
two actually, weirdly enough. I only
Do you
saw
see-
like
do
a
you-
black
Do you
mask.
see okay, so you don't see like the man in the hat or like,
No,
the
I've
old-
only seen like a black mask
the
like
old
come
woman that sits on
over.
her chest and stuff?
No, bro, if you're
Okay.
seeing that, that's crazy.
Bye!
Spencer's grandpa always silently points at me whenever I'm taking a shower. I don't like that either.
That was cool.
That's actually what I was about to bring up. It's actually like about 20 minutes from where I live. It's out in Hillsboro.
Which house?
Michael Myers' house. It's like a recreation.
Yeah,
I think he
Michael
made it
Myers'
back in like '07 or something like
Right,
that.
right. I know that the guy that does it, he was actually at the Scream Stu's house. The
Oh,
guy
really?
Who built
That's
this,
crazy.
some guy built an exact replica of the Michael Myers house in North Carolina, and he lives in it.
Yeah.
What did he never know?
Florida.
It was my grandfather. No, thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Dawn?
Thank you, everybody.
Don't forget to get your gift.
Thank you very
baskets
much.
from Dawn.
It was super cool to hear the answers to a lot of the questions that the fans had to ask, and I even popped my own question in. I follow Spencer almost religiously on social media, so when he was at Stu's house from Scream, I was fangirling so hard because not only do I enjoy Ice Nine Kills, but Scream is my favorite scary movie. So when the singer of one of my favorite bands was in the location of one of my favorite movies, I was ecstatic. So my question to Spencer was,
Best part about being in Stu's house. Best part
Excuse
about
me?
being in the Scream house.
Oh, wow. Yeah, for those of you guys who didn't know, Scream is one of my favorite films, and I recently got to go to the house where they filmed the ending scene. That's the house she's referring to. I don't know, it's hard to pin it down to just one moment, but, you know, just being in that kitchen, it's such an iconic scene, and it's such an important film to me that, yeah, I'd say probably being in the kitchen or the garage was surreal.
Okay.
I want to go back.
he didn't hear me because of course I speak like a mouse, so I had to repeat my question. This time I changed it from Stu's house to the Scream house, and that time he heard me and answered, and I just loved his answer because honestly that would be my favorite part too. Actually, it would be between his answer and possibly the entryway where Sydney first finds out the twist of the movie. Like, those are the two most prominent parts of the house that I would love to be in. But then there's also the living room. I don't know. I love Scream so much. This is gonna turn into another Scream video if I keep going. So after the Q&A, we were told that we were going to get our merchandise, also handed out by Dawn, and it was at the bar, so we just sort of one at a time walked up very respectfully, like no fan acted like they were above any other fan, and we just kind of first come, first serve, stepped up to the plate and grabbed our stuff. So I guess at this point, I want to show you guys what all I got at the concert. This is going to be a mix of merchandise and VIP exclusive things. I'm going to start with my two favorite items first. The first favorite item are really cute enamel pins. They're Ice Nine Kills themed, but they're also horror film themed. And they're little horror icons. Let me show you. So we have the stabbing in the dark pin. Then we have the rocking the boat pin. And lastly, we have the thank God it's Friday pin. I love these so much. I love these so much. I want to do a horror themed Eat a bag now to carry around to conventions, because how adorable are these? So adorable. That's how adorable. I had two favorite items out of the VIP package, and this is actually my second favorite, or tied for first favorite, I guess you could say. So my tied for first favorite item is a bandana. It has the horror icons that appear in their songs. See, it's Freddy and Pennywise, Michael, and Jigsaw and Jason. So cool. There's even a crow over there beside of Jason. Like, this is absolutely awesome. And I already have it pinned to a board so I can put it in my Eat a bag. And let me just do that real quick so you can see what it looks like. Isn't that just so cute? Another item that we got was this adorable ticket. It's a little admit one movie ticket, but it's for the silver screen. It has this cute little monster on the back with the popcorn stand. This next item is a precious popcorn box that has the Ice Nine Kills label on it instead of it saying popcorn. And we got a signed copy of the Silver Scream, signed by each member of the band. The next item is a double printed poster. One side is the Silver Scream logo, the other side is the American Nightmare logo. And then the last item is an It's the End windbreaker / raincoat. It's yellow, just like in the movie It, and the back of it has Pennywise. I just love the balloon on the front. There's a nice little zipper pocket in the front as well. And then the back is so super cool. It has Pennywise and the paper boat, and it says it is the end with Ice Nine Kills over the top. I love it. So now, of course, I'm hoping for a nice rainy or windy day that I can break that out, because it's just so super cool and unique. So I'm super satisfied with all of the merch. I think the VIP stuff was so awesome and so unique, and I can't express how amazing and intimate this VIP experience actually was. So once we got all of our stuff, we were told that we could loiter in the bar area while they set up the barricade. We all kind of loitered, we used the restroom if we needed to, and just kind of chilled until the barricade was up. So when we did finally get to go down to the barricade, I planted myself a little left of center, as I usually like to do, and just kind of stood there. I leaned against the barricade and didn't move, didn't budge. And then Sleep Signal started, and Sleep Signal was so cool. A very talented group. You need to check them out. Enjoyed their set, and it was at that point that I realized that Ice Nine Kills was going to come on before Memphis Mayfire, and oh my gosh, they were amazing. The second band, Ice Nine Kills, got people going a little crazy, and we had our first crowd surfers, despite the fact that we had no security in the front. Like, it was just barricade, a good foot, and then stage. And in that foot, there were photographers. So it was more like a media pit than a drop crowd surfers pit. So the space between the stage and the barricade was, in my opinion, supposed to be for photographers and not for people crowd surfing. But it just takes one. And the singers actually were saying, there's no room up here, there's nobody up here to catch you. But people get drunk, people get wild, people get crazy, and crowd surfing started. And eventually they had to pull security in and get them to stand left and right of stage so that they could grab the crowd surfers as they came through. It was honestly entertaining trying to see these crowd surfers maneuver themselves into the small space where not only the security guards and the media were standing, but they also had to stand. And there was only one way out. So they all dropped and they all tried to go one way and then they were directed the other way. And it was barely enough space for one person to stand. So I'm sure the photographers were also a little upset that they didn't get perfect shots because they had to duck crowd surfers all night. I, for one, am against crowd surfing if it is inside of a closed small building like a club instead of like a pavilion or a coliseum that's equipped with both security and space and enough people to hold people up. I guess some people find that appealing and they think crowd surfing is awesome, so who am I to say anything against it, right? But enough about crowd surfing for now. We'll come back to that in a minute. First, let me talk about Ice Nine Kills and their fantastic set. I believe I have some clips of people singing along, and we all knew every word. At this time, I'm going to throw in some clips of just how good of a show that they put on. Hopefully the sound quality isn't too bad. I know it's going to be terrible, but hopefully it won't hurt your ears too badly. It'll just be a few quick clips so that you can just get an idea of the positive vibe that Ice Nine Kills brought to the stage. As you can see from the video, not only do they bring a positive vibe to the stage, but they also bring a heavy theatrics, and I'm absolutely blown away by the way that each individual member of the band brings a powerful presence to the stage. I'm really hoping for an Ice Nine Kills headliner tour, because I would be super ecstatic to hear Rocking the Boat, The Jig Is Up, and World in My Hands. World in My Hands is actually my favorite song from the Silver Screen, followed closely by A Grave Mistake and Rocking the Boat. And it's really odd that Rocking the Boat is one of my favorite songs, because I'm terrified of sharks. But we'll get into that in another video. So, needless to say, the Ice Nine Kills show did not disappoint. I did not leave this concert disappointed. I left wanting to listen to their music after the concert. So, after the fantastic, mind-blowing Ice Nine Kills performance, we got to Memphis Mayfire. And this is where we come back to the crowd surfing. The crowd surfing for Ice Nine Kills was pretty tame in comparison to the Memphis Mayfire crowd surfing. As I said, I was at the barricade. I was actually in the process of contemplating, should I stay at the barricade or should I move back some so that people could fill my spot? Because, of course, I was there for Ice Nine Kills, so I knew my friend was there, and I was like, I'll just chill at the barricade until he gets here, you know, see if he can move his way up to me. So, as most of you know, this was not the best decision. That was my wrong decision. That was a decision that I should not have made. Because I was standing there, I was watching the show, I was minding my own business. It was almost the end of the set. It was literally the last song Memphis Mayfire was playing. A guy came crowd surfing, and I was too fixated on the band and the performance that was happening that I paid for to notice that the man was coming up behind me. Not only did no one say heads up, no one turned around, no one said anything, but also there was no security guard in front of me. So this guy came barreling through the crowd, being shoved and pushed, and just, he was thrashing around, and they were trying to shove him towards the front. Well, guess who was at the front? Me. Laura was at the front. So this guy gets forcefully shoved into me, and there's no one to grab him. I have no clue he's anywhere around, so I couldn't even duck out of the way. And he lands on top of me. Normally, this would just have landed me on the ground or whatever, but I was at the barricade, and I was leaned up against the barricade because I was enjoying the show and I was being pushed into it. So, I'm standing here, the guy comes crowd surfing over top, and they push him into me, and there goes Laura's head. Kind of ducked because I felt the pressure of it all, and my arm, my upper arm, and my head get pinned underneath him. This has to be one of the worst pains I have ever felt in my life. I feel his weight on top of me, and I hear a cracking, and I'm like, oh good God, my neck has snapped. Something's happening to me in this moment that I cannot get away from. I don't even know what happened. It seemed to take forever, but it was really just the blink of an eye. But eventually someone pulled him off of me and over the barricade. When I turn around, my friend's behind me, and he's like, whoa, what was that? What happened? Are you okay? And this other girl is like, are you okay? And then the girl beside of me has the nerve to say, "That's why you duck." I'm sorry, I didn't even know that he was anywhere around me. I was enjoying the show that I paid for, the show that everybody else is supposed to be watching and enjoying and getting into. Well, guess what? I was into the band. I had my hand up in the air like I was enjoying myself. And all of a sudden, I'm feeling this excruciating pain that makes me want to cry. And then this girl has the nerve to say, "That's why you duck?" It was just like insult to literal injury. So I was in pain the rest of the show. We finished off the Memphis Mayfire show, and I just stood there with my friend. We played a little Pokemon Go while we waited for them to exchange the equipment and get Atreyu set up.
Doing what you're doing. Wow.
The pain hadn't really set in yet. Like, I knew something had happened. I kept rolling my neck to see if I felt anything sharp, I was really paranoid that something had happened. But anyway, we played Pokemon Go while we waited for Atreyu to set up. So, I powered through. I started the Atreyu set, and I felt okay. Like, I was in pain, obviously, but I wasn't gonna be a baby about it. That's just not me. I understand. It's a rock concert. You're gonna get kicked in the head. You're gonna get pushed around. You're gonna get stepped on. It's what I expect. I did not expect to feel like my neck was broken and that something in me snapped. Like, that was a terrifying experience. And I hope I never have to experience it again. And I really hope that I don't have any serious permanent repercussions from it, because as of right now my body is extremely sore. So the Atreyu set starts. I end up having a good time. I'm enjoying myself. I film a little bit. I'm enjoying the show. I'm much more aware of my surroundings than I was with Memphis Mayfire. And then all of a sudden this guy comes bouncing through, and I mean literally bouncing. Like, this was the guy. And he started in the back of the crowd, and he just was like, "Ah!" Literally making that noise until he was directly in front of me. And he didn't even stop then. He was bouncing. And then this girl beside of me, the same girl that told me, "That's why you duck," this same girl starts bouncing with him. And they're like shoving each other back and forth. And they're just like, "No." And because they're doing that right in front of me, right against the barricade, they're pushing on me, they're pushing on everybody around them, and we're all like this because we're creating a barrier so that they have their own little private playpen to bounce around in. And that's when I'd had enough. And I start looking around, and I spot my friends, and I dive over there. Because the friend that was behind me is now back in the pit, because that's where he enjoys it. He belongs over there. And I enjoy the fact that there's actually a pit going on. And I have absolutely nothing against a pit, because a pit is an organized confusion. It is an organized chaos. I'm not mad that there's a pit. I'm glad that there's a pit, because a pit is an organized chaos. You know that if you're in that area, you're gonna get hurt. There's no surprise kicks in the head. There's no surprise bodies falling on you. There's no 200-pound men sitting on your head while you're wondering if you're gonna die in that second or not. Like, a pit, you know what to expect from a pit. And you know if you don't want to be there, you get out. And the girl that was behind me that was making sure I was okay, she was like, "I don't blame you." And the venue's floor is actually at a slant, so I didn't miss a bit of the show. You could easily see overheads, and we were safe. And I know it sounds like such a mom thing to say, but we were actually safe over in our little corner. And it was really cool because we got to see the guitarists handing out their picks to little children, and being away from the barricade was just as much a fun experience as being at the barricade.
Yeah, while we're at it though, while we're at it though, might as well get a little Travis, 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 Travis. Is this the, you know, you were right. It brings me to my point, all this shenanigans, all this bullshit. If you're not having a good time in this life, you're having a bad fucking time. You are the fucking master of your own destiny every single day. Don't get me wrong, every now I listen to The Cure too. But when I'm not listening to The Cure, keeping that shit positive as fuck. What's that? You guys want another new song? You don't have a fucking choice. Anyway, from the bottom of my shitty heart, thank you very much for spending money on rock and roll.
So overall, I was thoroughly impressed with the bands. Overly impressed by the VIP experience. Amazed by Ice Nine Kills. And wounded beyond belief. After the show, my friend, in all of her boldness, decides to go around the back of the venue and talk to the lead singer of Atreyu at his bus. I caught a little bit of footage of her going into the alleyway. Is that the guy?
That's the lead singer right there.
Right there.
Where?
From
down the
Atreyu.
alleyway.
Down the thing.
Should I go ask for a picture?
If you want to.
You want to go ask for a picture of me? Don't let me go by myself.
And he's gone.
That little look.
Is he gone?
Yep. It was really funny because this guy that was taking out the trash says, Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing back there? Are you supposed to be back there? And of course, she didn't hear him. She's V-lining towards the bus. So, so his response is, she can't hear me. She'll hear me if I drag her butt off that bus. Like she was actually going to get on the bus with him. But even if she was, she would have been invited, and he couldn't do anything, right? He was just taking out the trash. But anywho, she got that cool experience. She also ended up catching one of the guitar picks in her cleavage, which is always fun. And then afterwards, we ended up going to IHOP. Yum. And at IHOP, I took my sweater off for the first time. Guess what we found? I've never seen my skin blue before, so that's new. The bruise actually looks so disgusting in person. There's this big old knot towards the front. It kind of reminds me of an avocado in its shape because it's sort of like light colored at the top and then there's that little circle in the middle. So I've got a big, giant avocado shaped bruise. It's 3 different colors. It's purple, it's blue, and it's kind of green. And just gross. My bruise is disgusting. I have a gross bruise. Not only do I have the gross bruise, but I also have a catch in my hip that just doesn't seem to want to go away. And I also have a knot on my head, right about here, which I guess is where my head went against the steel barricade. When I was forcefully knocked into the steel barricade by the man's butt. I have miscellaneous little bruises and bumps from my head down to my hip. I'm kind of afraid I've got a fracture somewhere that I don't know about, maybe even in my head, which is terrifying. Oh my god. And it has been an experience. I want to say a special thank you to the security guard who saved my life by taking the guy off of me. I know I told you you did an amazing job after the show, but I just want to give him a shout out right here because he did a great job. He wasn't expecting this kind of crowd. He got it anyway, and he improvised. So props to that security guard. The concert overall was fantastic. The bands performed wonderfully, and it's no reflection on them that I ended up getting hurt. I had a great time, fantastic shows, and that VIP was phenomenal. That was my Ice Nine Kills VIP and concert experience. Overall, 100% rating. So, that's how I almost died at an Ice Nine Kills concert. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you come around again soon. Say bye. Bye. Oh, Phoenix says bye too. I know, this is a super long video, like possibly one of the longest videos I've done yet. But I just want to tell you guys that I also wrote an album review for the Silver Scream. I wrote it for Feel the Same magazine and it's been published. It's in the fall 2018 issue. So I'm gonna post some links down below where you can read it and or buy it, and I'd really appreciate it if you took the time to at least read it and tell me what you thought, and maybe even buy it. If you buy it, please, please, please take a picture next to my review. Just kind of hold it up and take a picture with it. I would absolutely love that. So please consider supporting me by buying the magazine that has my first ever album review, which just happens to coincide with this video, so I thought I would plug it. Fun fact, this video is going up on my best friend's birthday. So, happy birthday, Jason. So thank you for being my best friend for so long, and happy birthday. Followed closely. So in the van that went yeah. Hold still. A cracking person through the door. How do I say that? Like, and I was next in through the door. Okay. Things happen. Think, Laura, think, Laura, think, Laura, think, Laura, what happened next? What happened next? Think, Laura, what happened next? What happened next? We got in line, right? And at so crowd surfers was one of, and much stranger than another. Where's my wallet? Yeah. Wow. One of the okie dokie. A concert. Focus on me. Me. Focus. Checked into the RV. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. So I walk up. They're starting to. And
Jesus Christ. Is this one like super horrible? Is it just me? Just me? Damn. This guy's pissed. Is he more pissed? This guy's pissed. Do you want us to play Blow again? Is that what you're saying? Play Blow. Because we're not going to do that. Who wants to hear Blow again? Just kidding! Just kidding!
Sorry, Taco Tuesday.
Where am I right now? No, I'm just kidding. It's by Bon Jovi. We're no strangers to love. shy to say. Inside we both know what's been going on. We know the game and we're gonna fucking play it. And I just wanna tell you how I'm feeling. Don't tell me you're too blind to see. I'm never gonna In the flesh, Dan Jacobs, everybody. You're far too kind to him. He does not deserve that at all. If you knew him, you wouldn't do that.